Hello, everybody. It is the morning after the day before. Leeds United, top of the table. It feels good, doesn't it? And let's hope we can stay there throughout the majority of 2025. It was an excellent night for Leeds, obviously beating Derby County, watching some of their reaction this morning, which is always nice with the vlogs and stuff like that. Champions again, ole, ole. Let's hope that's a little bit of a premonition going forward into May, June sort of period. Listen, we're joined as always by Joe, and we're going to be getting into it today. We've got the debrief with a very special guest tonight as well. Make sure you're sticking around for that one, everybody. And listen, yeah, Leeds United top of the table, and I couldn't think of anybody else to get into it with. It's not really going to be much of a counterpoint. I can't imagine. Just glowing about Leeds and all that good stuff. Make sure you're slapping a like on the video. Join the Patreon if you haven't already. The WhatsApp community is thriving. Make sure you're slapping a like on the video and commenting and subscribing. As always, late Connor, is this Joe's fault? I'm not saying anything. Good morning. What an amazing day to be top of the league. And without any further ado, the man is back in the building for this one. Joe Wayman, how you doing, mate?
We're stuck in that limbo between Christmas and New Year of not knowing what day it is. I sat down to do the video. Then he heard the bin men go past, and my bin's full of plastics from kids' presents and unboxing them. So I was like, I need to get this bin out, otherwise it's going to be overflowing. Yeah. So here's my fault. He did. To be fair, he was telling me about the bins, and it can be a bit of a nightmare. Liam says, "How's the mic, Connor?" It's good, mate. It's here. It's sort of rest in peace. We're gonna have to throw this. Honestly, Joe, people don't realise, mate, how much this technology costs us, do they? And this piece of crap did out on me last night, and I was raging. But yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good. Herbert said you'll have to find something else to argue about, Connor. Maybe we'll just argue about the bins. Who knows? Good morning. What an amazing day to be top of the league. The sun is shining, Mr. Wayman, and Leeds United at top of the league. Yeah, happy days, mate. I'm just looking at Twitter. You've got Tanaka's family in the crowd and that, man. It's just everything just is good. Everything's good. Look, we'll get into the fine minutiae of the performance and maybe those that started and what we make about that and what we need to do moving forward and stuff. But overall, look, it's 2 away wins on the spin. I think we got the most points in December. We've now got a gap, 2 points over Sheffield United. Their team, by the way, watching them yesterday is so threadbare. It is unbelievable. So they need to do a lot of work in January because
who's that, mate? Derby.
Sheffield United, mate. Sheffield United. Yeah, their team was threadbare. Their squad is threadbare. They've got a lot of injuries, so they need to hope they're pretty active in January. Otherwise, they might.
You watched the game, didn't you, Joe? What was the overall take?
Mate, I thought they were all right in the first half. Like I said, the bench, there was no Suter. Suter might be out now for the season. There's no obviously Arblas there. There was no Raksaki. They had so many.
I don't even think he's been getting in, has he, Raksaki?
No,
I'm pretty sure.
Well, Andre Brooks, to be fair, who started the season for them on the right, I don't know why they dropped him, and then he scored a very good goal yesterday. But they're very threadbare, mate. Obviously now Cooper as well. He'd gone for a period of time not conceding goals at Bramall Lane. Still a top keeper, by the way. Made an unreal save that was waiting to be headed in by Carlon Grant, and he just tipped it out of the way. Sheffield United felt they could have had a pen, but I think a point was pretty even. I didn't watch Burnley versus Middlesbrough, mate. I won't lie to you, but I was done in by that point. But yeah, Sheffield United, yeah,
it's a tough shift if you're watching that one as well, isn't it?
I know, yeah. But Sheffield United need to do some business, otherwise they could be in bother, I think. But look, it's all about us, and as long as we do our business now, it's ours to lose. I know it's still early. We've played all the teams, but we're in front. We've got a 2-point gap. Just do what we need to do, and we'll win the league, won't we? So,
yeah, let's. I think it's a good place to start, actually, Joe. I'd not thought about starting on maybe the other teams a little bit first before we get into it. I'm sure with the counterpoint over the next couple of weeks, it'll be very transfer heavy anyway. But yeah, I feel they're probably the best ones to start on. I feel like with Burnley at the minute, I think Burnley, it's not, look, if we go to Borough and we draw, dependent on context and wherever we are at that point, it's not going to be, I don't think it'd be a hideous result, would it? I think we were even saying when Borough came to Ellen Road, if we'd have got something against Preston and we got 4 points, it wouldn't have been bad. But Burnley are looking pretty decent, I guess, and sort of that away form's keeping them in contention, as we know. But Sheffield United, I think, are the ones. I mean, I was mentioning on a bit of an analysis I did post the Burnley game that I look at their bench and I still see like Ekdal. I still see Lyle Foster. I still see Ramsey, Sarmiento, Bayer, Benson all coming back early Jan. I think that's depth. That's really decent depth. And then I look at Sheffield United and I think game changers on the bench. There's not that many. And when you're looking at Leeds, and you get to the point of which. The thing is, Joe, how I see it is whoever comes in for them is going to have to bed in. They're going to have to gain those partnerships. They're going to have to gain that synergy, that cohesion with other teammates. With us, obviously, me and you know we need to add. I think everyone in the chat knows we need to add. But we're not going to have that period of time which it sometimes takes for new players to bed in. I think that's really important.
Massively, mate. I think, look, I would like us to do as much business as possible, but if you hold a gun to my head, as long as we get a 10, someone that can share the minutes with Brendan Aronson, I think we're pretty stacked. I know, we still have issues in the 9 and stuff, but I just don't see the club going to get another when they have 3 already at the football club. The goalkeeper, I think we need to give him flowers because in the last 2 games now, he's saved the first shot at his goal, but they've been quite key saves though. Like especially the one away at Stoke, that's a big save. He made a save yesterday when it was 0-0 as well, a big hand. So we have to give him a flowers. And I think someone said on my video, look, we don't need an amazing keeper. I think when he's doing things like this, it's like right, he's enough. I know we'd like to probably go and get a keeper, but if we're being realistic, I don't think. A lot of us think we actually will in January. Look at it in the summer, yeah, fair enough. But I do think he deserves his flowers because it's 2 clean sheets and he has been involved. And I actually think he's looked a little bit more assured when kicking and stuff. I don't know if that's having Ampadu in there potentially and just his communication. But he has looked a little bit. He's looked a bit better. And Louis, I hear what you're saying. Look, flowers for making simple saves. They're straight at him. I think that's unfair on the Stoke one. And it's all relative, right? If the keeper was making them routine week in, week out, we won't blink an eye. But the facts are he hasn't been. So when he does, that's important. Because if we concede against Stoke, if we concede against Derby, it's a different game. So he's had a part to play in it. So I think he deserves his flowers for that. And that's just my take on Meslier.
Yeah. I still think if they did something in January, Joe, I'd be still more than happy with it. But yeah, you have. I think you've got to. Yeah, I think the Stoke one was the important one. Yesterday, yeah, it was sort of looping header. He put
up the hand, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it wasn't amazing, but it's
But it's just, I think it's just the fact that we don't really concede that many chances. I mean, according to them, they were really happy with it last night, and we'll get onto Leeds in just a bit, Joe. But I guess Sheffield United are looking like big business is needed. In my opinion, I think that's that. Yeah. I mean, we're looking at maybe 4 or 5 bodies there. I'm not even kidding. I mean, when you look at Suter, there's rumours that he's apparently gone back to Leicester to be assessed about potentially cancelling his loan as well, because it could be that bad. Vinny Souza seems to be picking up more and more injuries. They're not shy of a suspension every now and again, are they? So it's interesting looking at them right now. And what I won't get on board with, Joe, is the fact that they're not good enough. He's done a miracle, Chris Wilder. Well, yeah. I'm not sure he's done a miracle. I think when you look at that starting 11, I mean, we were arguing really at the beginning of the season that we had the more depth, Joe, but they may, and I know hindsight now looking at it, but they may have had a better looking squad than us, with O'Hare and Hamer and stuff. But it seems a bit bizarre with them. They can't seem to fit all the players in the right position. O'Hare wide left, Hamer wide right, or whatever it's been. But yeah, and Burnley seemed just a little bit more balanced. But getting into the game last night, starting 11.
You must have been absolutely buzzing.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't, but I can imagine your reaction. A lot of people were. I was okay with it as well, by the way. But you must have been absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, you know me, mate. Yeah, I was very. Do you know what was a bit weird? I have to say. I didn't expect to feel this, but when I saw. If you'd have asked me sort of a couple of months ago when Solomon and James been out, I'd have been like, well, yeah, for Ramazani and Nonto, obviously. But I was looking at it and I actually thought, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. But obviously with Ramazani and Nonto in there, obviously my man was left out, wasn't he? And Tanaka came back in. That'll be interesting to talk about. Is that now going to be a bit more of a permanent thing? Are we going to see Rothwell involved in it at all in that midfield anymore? I don't know. It's an interesting chat to get into. But what are your thoughts overall on it, mate? I know you're going to be happy.
I want to know your thoughts because we need to talk about the three that came in. Matteo, Willie Nonto. I thought Willie Nonto was good for 25 minutes. I don't want to be too scathing on Ramazani. He looks well short of it at the minute. Obviously, he's back from injury.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were great, mate. I don't think they were great. And I know, listen, myself included, have said I'd like to see changes. I don't think they were great. And it's a good job the cavalry came on in Solomon, James and Pirro, because straight away, and of course, you've got to factor in the time of the game and legs and all that sort of stuff. But they came on, Solomon straight away, ball into the centre. James probably should finish it. It's straight at the keeper. That little bit of extra quality. And the goal itself is quality, isn't it? And it's well worked. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on the lineup and what you think moving forward. Would you be advocating them to come back in? Or is it a case of they're the bench options for now?
Yeah, I think I know what you're edging towards, and I think my comment section were edging towards it last night when it's almost like me having to stick up for a certain person, which is I don't know. I do find it a bit, not from yourself, Joe, but I do find it a bit weird that the first thing I'm having to sort of back when we've gone top of the league is the fact that Joseph's crap and he's not good enough and sell him and all this sort of stuff. I do find it a bit bizarre when I think we should all be, we debrief the game obviously, but I think we should all be just asking the fact that we're top of the league and it's not bad right now, is it? It's not exactly like poor. No. I think when we're talking about the wing options, Ramazani, I think was poor last night. I think he was poor, but he's rusty. I'm giving him that excuse. I actually said, Joe, that I thought Nonto was poor. I got battered. I
thought he was good for 20 minutes, bro. But outside of that, he just went. He totally faded.
Did you say that on your stream? I got killed for saying it. I got battered online for saying it. I got I got. So I just didn't think. Maybe it's because we hold him at a higher standard. Maybe it's because we talk about Ramazani, or I do, Joe, talk about Ramazani and Nonto as if they're almost the second coming in this division. So it's very much like I hold them to a very high standard, expect that level. When Solomon and James have been in, Solomon's been so good. He's been I did not expect that. When me and you were chatting at the start of the season, nowhere near have I expected his level to go like it has done. I didn't expect that. James we all just love him, don't we?
But me and you, think about mine and your opinion of James pre-season. He's not good enough. He's technically poor, but now he's arguably one of the first names on the team sheet, isn't it? I mean, amazing.
And that's why I kind of thought I was probably a bit like at the start. I was like, will I ever be happy with this start 11? Because I'm like, it's just because we've got so many options, isn't it? Yeah. So James and Nonto right now, I'm a little bit like, not really that bothered by it, to be honest, whichever one's in. And that's meritocracy, isn't it, Joe? That it's all based on performances. And James has been brilliant. Solomon has been so good. He's been so good. And he came in, I thought, yesterday, and he didn't put a foot wrong. He did not put a foot wrong. I thought he was, he was inventive in that final third. I've mentioned this from a... Go on.
The defenders in the Champo can't get near him when it rolls round him. He very rarely loses the ball, Connor.
Yeah. No, you're right. He's very, he's almost he's like so small and he's so nippy. I wouldn't say he's quick, but he's nippy over like a 5-yard sort of agile, like almost like his agility is very decent, isn't it? And it feels like when he starts running towards the centre back, they can't touch him, because if they touch him, he's going to go down. We've seen him he goes down quite easily, doesn't he? Which I don't mind, to be honest. But he goes down quite easily, and they know if they touch him, it's a penalty. So I guess the one up top is the one, isn't it? I mean, once again, we're looking at a scenario where...
You think he was good yesterday, Joseph?
No, No, I didn't. I didn't think he was good yesterday. But what I will say is, I'm getting. I don't know if you're getting a bit sick of it, but I have to say I'm getting a little bit sick of the whole. If Bamford there, he'd have scored. If Peru was there, he'd have scored. Peru don't make near post runs. We've discussed this on the channel. It doesn't. True. So those two, and we've said it, haven't we, Joe? Me and you've said it. You watch the game. You do all the watch-alongs. I do the watch-alongs as well. Near post runs, he don't make them. So he'll hang back or he'll be on the edge of the box. We see that with Peru, don't we? So he doesn't get those two chances. It just doesn't happen. But the one where I was thinking he should have.
When it comes in from Bogle, mate, that's a shocker. Yeah. What's he doing, man?
Yeah, he should have done a hell of a lot better. And I saw him mouth back, didn't he? He went the bounce. That's what he said to someone. I can't remember who it was. He went the bounce, but he should have done a lot better there. I think
he just needs to take a touch. I don't know if he's trying to rush it. To be honest, this is where it comes back to experience and age, because he's smashing goals in for Spain or whatever. It's a totally different kettle of fish when you're expected to be first team in a game that matters. You're away from home and all that sort of stuff.
Joe, can I also say here? You know, Leeds SPG, right? He's just said his assists for the goals out of this world. What I will say in that first half, Joseph put the exact same ball on a plate, first time touch for Aronson, who leant back and smashed it over the bar. It was the exact same move.
Similar, yeah.
So yeah, exactly similar. Maybe not the exact same, but it was.
No, but he's laid it off, hasn't
he? Yeah. But it's these finite things we get into, isn't it, Joe? Oh well, I've never experienced this sort of conversation. I don't think we have we? I mean, maybe back in the day there was Helder Costa and maybe Jack Harrison, but a lot of the time they'd be on different sides. Bamford and Roof, that was probably one, wasn't it? But Bamford was always injured, and then Roof would be periodically injured. But it is an interesting conversation. I don't ultimately think he was poor. I don't think he had a poor game, but I think
I don't think none of those that came in did enough to wrestle the shirts off those that started the week before. And that goes for Tanaka as well, by the way. I'd be starting Rothwell and Ampadu at home against Blackburn.
You'd be starting him at home, yeah.
Yeah, against Blackburn, yeah. And I think he will switch it because, like he's mentioned about Tanaka not playing over the winter period, it's probably and Rothwell's not played a lot of football in the last 2 years. I think he'll switch it back, and I'm okay with that. But I just don't think any of those that came in to start did enough to wrestle the shirt. And I think they've had ample opportunities as well. And I think Joseph has as well. He started the season as the 9, then he comes out little bits. He needs to do more to get that shirt in Farker's eyes. He needs to do more. But I do appreciate the rotation.
What do you think he needs to do, Joe? Because I think there's just one thing he needs to do.
Yeah, score goals, bro. Yeah, he needs to score goals. Yeah, he does. Because he's had opportunities, Connor. He has, he has had opportunities. So he needs to put the ball in the onion bag because we know, and I love the name. Someone mentioned it on my last watch along, and I think you coined it, Peronimus. He can be anonymous at times.
The last 5 away games, I think, before Stoke, I think it was without a goal and assist. And in those last 5 away games, he's just not even in the pitch.
I agreed, mate. And, I don't want to rewrite history because I did want Joseph to start prior to Stoke, and then he didn't. Then he gets 2 goals. But it's like, it almost feels as well, I don't know if you got this in your chat, but I don't think you did a watch-along last night, did you, actually?
No.
A lot of people were, they want changes. Then when the manager changed it, everyone was going, you can't change a winning side. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'd hate to be a manager because my head's hot reading that. So imagine being the manager who's like, hang on a minute. You wanted me to start. Now I'm starting him. Like, had we have lost or not picked up points, the whole narrative would have been, he's changed it too much. And all we've wanted is changes. So I'm just glad we won. And do you know what really made me happy, Connor? Was that Aronson got the winner. I'm part of the ADL. He was getting, I have the Aronson Defence League, mate. He was getting pelters, Connor. Pelters. I thought he played well in the first half, but everyone honed in on that chance that he missed. But
do I have to go in on am I the JDL League then? Is that what I am?
Yeah, you're JDL, yeah, mate. You're JDL. I'm ADL, but I'm so happy for him, mate.
Yeah.
It was such a well-taken finish as well, considering the time of the game. I think he's in... Look, I know he missed that one earlier on, but he had a similar sort of chance in the first game against Portsmouth and he snatched it. So now you know, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected. It's a great finish. Zetterstrom's not actually a bad keeper, is it? The 2 games we've seen him, he's good. Very good. And he's good distribution as well. So, talk to me about Aronson, mate, because I know there's been, and I know you probably want to try someone else, you try a different player in the 10 or whatever. It's clear now the club are waiting for a number 10 to come in so they can dovetail them two, because he's the only one who don't get changed in the forward line. But yeah, Aronson, was he good for you yesterday, or outside of the goal, or am I glazing? Because I think he was.
No, you're not. I think the last 3 games, I think he's doing this thing, in my opinion, where he's saying, "Don't go get a number 10." And I think that's important for him right now. I think he's saying to Farker, he's saying to the club, he's saying, "Look, I can be consistent. I can turn up. I can be a match winner. Please don't take me out, but I'm going to force you to not go and get a number 10." We've seen Leeds work like this before, Joe. Sometimes when there's a result or a set of performances, Leeds then don't really go out and react, or they do go out and react, and it's maybe not at the level that we expected. I think the last 3 games, Oxford, Stoke, and last night, I have to say, I'm warming to him a lot. I think his decision making has been a lot better. He's a little bit calmer, it feels, on the ball, and I think that finish last night was brilliant. I have to say, when in that Preston game, when he had that chance, and he had a similar chance to it last night in that first half, I'm thinking, Aronson, you've got to start being a match winner, mate. In that number 10, you've got to start being a match winner. And then, he puts the ball in the back of the net to win the game with probably I'd say the goal of the season. It was a superb goal. Classic our stream just cut out, Joe. I don't know if yours did, but mine cut out.
No, it didn't, thankfully, no.
Yeah, we've been watching it for 78 minutes, and then 79th minute it cut out, and then we went back on. And it was like Leeds are 1-0 up, and it killed it, Joe. It killed it. It absolutely killed it. I couldn't believe it, mate. Because I just previously
I was going like this to everyone, man. Shush.
Yeah. So brilliant. I don't know if you get this a lot. And maybe it is in your chat, and I think you chat to your chat a lot about it, to be honest, because we don't hate him on here. I think he's very, don't we? In this world, it's very different.
Very unfair shake. Really, not because of the loan or anything like that. I've not really thought that side of it. I just think yesterday, for example, all the talk was just Aronson, and I'm like,
do you think he gets
Ramazani? What about Nonto? What about Jake? Why are we all honing in on him when I would argue he was one of the better of the 4?
Yeah. Do you think he gets more? So I would say, so your chat, and obviously, guys, we're saying chat here, by the way, because it's a barometer of what we do on a day-to-day basis. Joe has a different chat to my chat, let's say, or it crosses over. But in my chat, for example, as soon as I got on last night, it was Joseph's crap, get rid of Joseph, and nothing was on Aronson. And I feel it's very, very, very heavy on the Joseph bandwagon pretty much any time I get on. So it's interesting how you're...
I get that with Brendan, bro.
Right, okay. Maybe it's because you're the ADL and I'm the JDL.
Bro, when we lose... I'm a Farker. I'm FDL as well. Do you know what I mean? So I get battered when we lose, like absolutely battered from my chat, from members who go, "I told you so." Some of them are in the chat now. They know who they are. So yeah, man. Which, I mean, Connor, a few weeks back now, you didn't think we were getting promoted. Now you look at it, you must be like, nah, wait, it's in our hands now. It's massively in our hands.
Yeah, and I guess context-wise, I like to apply context. I know what you're like, but I apply a bit of context. And at that time, when we'd not won any away games,
did we lose? I think.
Yeah, I think we were 3, weren't we? And the interesting thing is now, I don't know about what your thoughts are on this, and everyone in the chat. Last season, we won 9 away games. This season, we've won 5. And we're not in January yet, and you think to yourself, hopefully we can surpass that.
Yeah. Like, we're 3rd in the away form table now.
Which is ridiculous. What is that? Like, that's mental, isn't it? With 5 away wins. That is crazy.
Yeah, 3rd in the away. I think we're 5 points behind Burnley and 2 behind Sheffield United. So, that's what 2 wins has done for us. And, we just need to maintain that now.
We're joint eighth, by the way. Joint eighth.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how what 2 win. Do you see that as now like a bit of a monkey off their back, really, in terms 100%. Of Leeds just 2 clean sheets away from home, 2 minging opponents. I think Derby were good. I'll be honest, Joe, I thought it was almost like a championship versus Premier League side. You'll get certain fan bases coming in here saying we're arrogant and all this sort of stuff. But genuinely, that's how it felt. Like how we were able to keep the ball, how incisive and sharp we were, the patterns, the movement, the depth that we had coming off the bench. But I thought in game we looked like it was almost like a league apart. But Joe, I have to be honest, at the start of that second half, it was absolutely doing my head in how we were the referee, look, we don't do it a lot on the counterpoint, but it's honestly, mate, this hair, this is natural grey right now, and it's because of all the referees. But it's getting to a point now of which they kind of ruined the game. The ball was in play for about 25 minutes, it felt like, anyway. Yeah. But it felt like the tempo dropped a bit, didn't it, Joe, at the start of the second half?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, they
started getting into it.
Yeah, they looked better, I felt, mate. Without creating loads. I thought we started really bright as well in the first half, and then let them into it a little bit as well. So yeah, I do tend to agree with you. And listen, even when you get promoted, the refs, I don't know if you saw that crazy non-red card for João Pedro when he tried to bloody Conor McGregor elbow fucking thingy in the face. You know what I mean? So the refereeing in this country is just an absolute shambles anyway. So yeah.
Do you think there's anything to Ampadu coming back? I think we've got people saying 3 Ws. I think it's 4, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's 4 Ws when he's featured. I think if I've got that right. Yeah, I think it's 4.
He hasn't missed a beat either, has he, Connor? There's been a lot of talk, and again, not from yourself, but some saying he don't get back in. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, he's this, he's that. In the 2 games he's been back in midfield, he's been quality, mate. Quality.
It has. Yeah, last night he was. Yeah, if I've been picky, I don't know about you, but I think by his standards, again, I think Tanaka's maybe been a little bit short of.
He has. Yeah.
I think Ampadu was the best midfielder last night, maybe before in the last game as well. Maybe Rothwell was the better of the midfielders as to. I think Tanaka has just been. The dynamic's interesting, isn't it? Because away from home it worked, didn't it? Away from home it definitely worked, and at home I'm sure it will work as well. I still didn't see maybe a yin and a yang. I still didn't see an attacking DM and a defensive DM. It's very much like they're both kind of mirror each other a little bit. I guess Ampadu's maybe a little bit further forward, but I tell you what, Joe, I'm really interested to see this Tanaka in the number 8. If he ever was to go in the number 8, if we did a midfield 3, let's say, because look for Dusseldorf, I think he got maybe 8 goals last season, or it might have been 8 goals overall, to be honest. But
our midfielders are allergic to scoring goals, mate. Like,
and then you see Brownhill on like nearly double digits this season. It's a nightmare, isn't it? But yeah.
Even like at Sheffield United, like I swear, like Vinny Souza probably are blasted. They've probably got a couple of pieces and stuff. I was just allergic to it, but
Davis got the win against Sunderland as well, and he's a substitute player. So So going forward then. Just a few questions here as well. Richard said Rothwell versus Tanaka. Thought Rothwell moved the ball quicker and we looked a lot better at Stoke.
He certainly drives with it more, doesn't he, Connor? He drives into spaces more. I think he comes back in, by the way, for Blackburn. I think they play him alongside.
Really?
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
So you think this is maybe more of a, because right now, I'm not sure you can drop Ampadu. I'm not sure you can.
No,
I'm not sure you can drop him now. I think it is between Tanaka and Rothwell, because I think Ampadu's going to give you that balance. We've got 3 really good defensive, like double pivot, haven't we? They're just really good players. So, how many teams in this division does Gila Voggi start for?
Well, all of them, don't he? Really, let's be honest. All of them. I love him, me. All of them, mate. To be honest, I don't think there's many that he doesn't. So, yeah.
Let's get into a couple of comments. Sid said, "Morning, Connor and Joe. Out walking the dog. Listen to your show. Happy New Year, guys. Keep up the great work. Love your content on your shows." Good, Sid. If you don't want to take each other on, what about this? Danny, we won 0-1. We missed a shed loads of chances, and without one goal, it would have been very different.
But that's,
I guess that's football, Danny, isn't it?
without, I don't know. Like, I don't get. We did score it though. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. If your auntie had a cock, she'd be.
Look, we know we are very, very profligate in front of goal. We don't score as many as we should, but we still can't get away from the fact, folks, that we have scored 44 goals, more than anyone in the division. So as bad as we are, we still scored the most in the division. So it's not like, say, Brighton under Graham Potter, who were like Champions League for XG and then we're in the relegation zone. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, we missed some, but the conversion rate isn't great, but we still scored the most in the division. So we can't have perfection, unfortunately. I wish we could.
Yeah, as well, Danny. You got Sheffield United away at Sunderland on Wednesday. If we get a win against Blackburn, you're literally looking then at it's going to be 5 points. It's 5 points, and
by the way, bro, listen to this. I did a prediction at the start of the month where I predict the month's games, and I've got the table almost bob on going into game 25, and I said we would have a 5-point gap. So if they get beat by Sunderland and we beat Blackburn, I've predicted it bang on.
Yeah, I didn't. Do you know what, mate? I did. We got this show called The Battle Lines with Blaze Ramble, Jimmy, and Jimmy was saying, he's like, how many points do you reckon we'll get? And I can't wait to get him back on now. Joey's busy now. He's going on holiday now, you see. So it's interesting how we got top of the league and he can't do it. But he was saying how many points do you reckon we'll get? And it was in their next four. And I looked at West Brom. I thought they might nick it against Burnley. Looked at West Brom, thought they might nick it with Corberan going. And I actually had them on a really decent points total. So this has surprised me, I have to say. But I guess you can't legislate for Suter being out, can you? I mean, better than Pascal Stroud. Better than Stroud, apparently. So, yeah. Alfonso says, lads, can we talk about Ronaldo's improvement with progressing the ball from the back a lot more, and most comes from this side? I think it's pretty abundantly clear right now. I mean, anytime we build up from the back, it's Melier to Rodon, and Rodon. He's had to get better at it, hasn't he, Joe? Yeah. Because so much comes down his side now.
Yeah. I think he's really good when he runs into midfield with it, mate. And then, and to be honest, a lot of the time he'll find the striker or the midfielder or the winger or whoever it is. So, I'm more than chuffed with his contribution. I think he's been quality. Both of them have been great. There was one moment where they nearly got caught out. Sometimes they're a bit overzealous in trying to be first to the ball. Rodon almost got caught out. Strauch almost did, but this time he took out the man, which was important because obviously, I forget the game where he got spun. It was Preston, weren't it, by Osmajic? But that's important that they make sure they time that right, because obviously you could get found out. But I think, the whole back four, Byram as well. What do we do about left back, mate? Because there's going to come a time where Byram's not going to be able to play because, what's he done now? 3 games in 7 days or whatever it is. And we've got another game on Wednesday. Is it time? Because Boba, Firpo, don't know what's happening there. Do we give Schmidt a start? Are you confident? Because we've only seen him twice off the bench in the left back role and in the most recent games as well, which makes me think Farke's preparing him for potentially having to be used there. Yeah, what do we do?
You've also got to think, mate, it's Blackburn as well, but then 3 days later we got Hull away. Do you know what I mean? And then we get a little bit of a break before Harrogate. I think Harrogate's on the 11th, but
which we make loads of changes for Harrogate, don't we? Loads.
Just stick the kids in. I'm not even
new 11, man. And then you can play Gullivoy, you can play Bamford, you can play Chambers, you can play De Bayo, you can play Crew. You can literally just change that, man.
Yeah. And it'd be interesting to watch anyway, to be honest.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Gullivoy starting and maybe Schmidt, and I know a lot of people are talking about. I think when he's come on, Joe, I think maybe on that, let's say if he's playing where Byram is, I think when I've seen him come on, I think he looks really technically able. I think he looks...
definitely.
Me and you have said, didn't we? I think we watched him and we did the counterpoint the day afterwards. He came on for about 15 minutes and we were thinking, bloody hell, he looks pretty decent on the ball, to be honest. So we've seen him go forward, haven't we? We've not seen a lot of him defensively, one-on-one, I guess. That's where he's going to favour Byram, obviously, because Byram's got the rap sheet. But I do think with Byram at left back, Byram at right back, I've never really had a problem with. It's just him at left back. I think I think running with the ball on his left-hand side, he can't technically do it. So you'll see him making those sort of runs forward, looking for that crossfield ball from your Rothwells or your Tanakas, and he beats the offside trap, and he's got a bit of joy doing that. But actually running with the ball, which I think you need a lot of, and getting to the byline like we've seen Firpo do so many times this season, just cutting the ball back. I don't think Byram can do that, so we have to adjust a lot, I think, when he's in there. And obviously it's worked, and he's done a good job. But like you say, fitness-wise, and just having a left back, I think they're worried about Firpo. I've got a feeling they're a bit worried about him. I don't
know what's be interesting to see.
I think that have offered him something by now, to be honest. Or maybe they have behind the scenes, but he can. Yeah. It's worth noting that he can sign a pre-contractual agreement on Wednesday if he wants. So,
and do we think Vorba might exit as well, mate? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't really know how to say this, and I'm sure he is, but he's been injured a lot, hasn't he, leading up to January? Yeah. I think it's his most injured, but it might be true. It might be true. I'm sure it is. I'm sure there's a little bit of a niggle there, but he doesn't ever seem to be available, Joe, does he? And I don't want to speculate too much. But yeah, I do wonder if he's just keeping himself a little bit fresh for that January move, because you don't want to get into January and fail a medical, does it?
It's like we got a little bit of form and we were all like, yes. And then he's like, right, I'm going to now turn it in until I can move. Show people I'm able. Yeah. Right now, I'm going to turn it in for a bit.
Yeah, I think I agree with Lee as well. I think it's, I think he goes. I think what I'd love us to do is, but I don't know how we do this. This is the whole problem. It's great actually chatting, isn't it, Joe? We're top of the league. We've got a bit of a buzz about us. But I think the problem with us in January is we could get the Fabio Carvalho problem, where we're interested and we're there, as Kinnear said. But the problem is, why would he come to Leeds when he can go to Hull and play all the minutes he does? Gets then a move to Brentford for 27 million because he's been playing minutes and he's been getting assists and getting goals. I think we're going to really struggle selling a bit of a project, unless it's like a young and upcomer, maybe, who's okay with sharing the minutes, let's say in the number 10 with Brendan Aronson. I think we might struggle a bit, mate. I think we might struggle a bit in terms of enticing these players in, because I don't really see a lot of them playing, especially with Brendan Aronson in the format he's in right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see which avenue we go down. I don't see Carvalho. McAtee played for City yesterday, and if he goes, it'll be for higher up the pyramid.
There's probably a shout for him, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been a few. I've seen something earlier on in the week. Forest and other clubs might be having a sniff. So, yeah, I don't know. I tell you what, I can't remember what I listened to. Oh, it was on a podcast, but they said they'd done some research on transfers. And the actual most successful ones in January are not transfers from the Premier League loans. It's getting players from other teams in the league, like sort of weakening your opposition kind of vibe. So like looking at 10s that are maybe lower down the table in your league and taking them that way.
Almost like when you had, I don't know if it was in the same window. I don't know if it was, to be honest, Finazaz, but I don't know if that was... Was that?
Yeah, no, that was last January, bro. Yeah,
from Villa. Can't remember if they got him from Villa.
No, so he was at Plymouth, weren't it? Recalled, yeah. and then they bought him Middlesbrough. Yeah, they brought him in.
A good one to look at is probably.
Yeah.
So, do you remember when we were in the Prem and Newcastle nicked Chris Wood off Burnley just to weaken them?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
yeah. It's probably so. Is there any sort of names that you think?
That's what I mean. I mean, Finazaz would be Fin Amazon, as Chris called him. But yeah, Finazaz
is flying. He's absolutely flying at the minute, Finazaz. Yeah, it looks really good. So I guess, I mean, do you foresee that as a bit of a problem, Joe, going into January? Maybe just that playing time, which leads and maybe not able to offer some of these top talents coming down?
Potentially. Do you know what? I've just received a text as well off someone who's clearly watching, who says, check for Tadzer at Watford, who he would be perfect, bro. He was good. He was good. The Georgian, he had a good Euros, to be fair, as well. But there's one that you could nick. I
mean, he's a top player. I mean,
well, even what's his face, and Lockie actually put this forward as a summer signing and got battered for it. Even Todd Cantwell as an option. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, just someone like that, 6 months, right, bam, here we go. they would do a job. So check for Tadza Cantwell, and they're two players that actually caused us problems. But yeah. Oh, Andrew said it was Radio Leeds that did the transfer thing. There you go. But yeah, check for Tadza would be a shout. But yeah, it might be a problem, mate, in terms of convincing. That was it. Andrew Wilson. Yeah, so Lee Bromby, when they were at Huddersfield, when he was director of football, they did research and they said that getting players from the same division but lower down is better than going for loans from the Prem in terms of success for it. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, it will be difficult, mate. I just think we get a 10 and that'll be a lot. I think that'll be it. And I'm okay with that, by the way. But
yeah. I mean, now isn't it funny how now that's very much it, isn't it? It's very much where we are. I wonder if the rhetoric would be different going into it if Leeds were maybe third, maybe 2 or 3 points behind, or 3 or 4 points behind. Cantwell is an interesting one, actually. Just purely on the basis that he's probably a little bit more involved for Blackburn right now. Probably a little bit like he's more involved with Blackburn right now. I would probably say him coming to Leeds and arguably maybe sitting on the bench would be a little bit difficult for him, but potentially.
Yeah. What about Boyer Signs as well? Someone's just mentioned Boyer Signs. There's another one. And you just
yeah. Is he? I think it's the bench thing, though, isn't it? Is he going to come in and just potentially, if he's coming to the Premier League with Leeds United, I don't know, but would his agent just turn around and say, "Wait for the summer, mate, and you'll be all right."
True.
Okay, Muckanos says Connor's incessant nature for backing the not yet ready Matteo Joseph is becoming as troubling as when Joe was incessantly backing Melier. I know what Connor said last summer. Yeah, maybe potentially. I think he just needs a goal.
Trust me, Muckanoff will not let you forget. He comes on all my streams saying, "I know what Joe said last summer." I was like, it gets a little bit creepy at times, so watch out, mate. If he knows that's.
Oh God, right? Look, I'm gonna have to block you, mate. Jack says, "How many points do we need to get promoted?" I think it's going to be 90 plus again, mate. I think it's going to be pretty close.
I think we'll get that though. The mad thing is, I think we'll get that. We're on course for it, aren't we? Aren't we on course for 96 if we continue in this form?
Yeah, well, apparently Sheffield United are on course for 100 points one game ago. Said Chris Figure that one out. But yeah, mate. So let's get into a few more of your comments. Carvalho will be the dream, not with Farker, says Sly. Cantwell and Boyer Signs are Buendia light signings. We're not going to get a Buendia, mate, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, Chris says, I wonder how much if squeeze Sunderland would let. I don't think so, Chris. I think Bellingham's arguably been the best player in the division. They'll tell you that he's been the best player in the division. He's sort of gone on to another level, I think, this season. So I think he's sort of Premier League bound. Keep liking the video as well, everybody. We've got over 1,200 in the building this morning, which is fantastic to see. Andrew says, I think aim to loan an attacking Firpo S left back to get us out of the division. Tell you what, Joe, they've got one up the road, haven't they? In Sunderland, in that left back. Wouldn't mind taking him off their hands. Yeah, absolutely excellent. And so what? Go on then. What? Because I've sort of given my opinion on what they need to do. Does the importance frame a little bit differently if maybe we lose a Max Verber, a lead sort of then targeting the left back region? I guess even though he's an archetype of a centre back, isn't he? But
yeah, I think we need a 10. We need a 10. That's the first thing we do. And then we just replace. If we do have any exits. I don't think like Joffrey has to go. You've got to let him go, but I don't think you really need to replace him because you've got the likes of Chambers and that coming through that could sit on the bench instead of. But yeah, if we lose someone like a Vober, even though he's not played much, it'd be just Leeds United look to get an injury, meaning shit, we've now not got Vober, we're having to turn to Debayo or whatever. So I think if we do lose any major squad players, they need replacing. But I just want us to get a 10 because if we look all over the pitch now, Connor, there is rotation. I mean, you don't rotate your centre backs, but we've seen different options in every single area of the pitch.
Mate, to rotate like we did yesterday, staggering at Chris level.
Mental. Yeah. So the only place where we haven't done that is 10, and we can't expect the same output from Aronson because we've seen where he has a poor game. You know, he was poor the game I think it was Blackburn, but then like great against Middlesbrough, then great against Stoke. He was good yesterday, and it's like up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah. Come here.
You're right. You're right. Do you want me to move on? I'm getting some of the comments.
Yeah.
Just I'll put you on mute.
Wants to drink.
Here he is. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. You put yourself on.
Hello.
Hello. Don't get his looks off you, does he, Joe? Right, let's get into a few comments. Pixie says,
Mario. Go on then. Go on. There we go.
Pixie says, Blades fan in peace. Oh my God. Pixie, you lot and Jayden Bogle, you've got this like, so you just got to let it go. I thought Bogle looked off it yesterday with the fans on his. Still a long way to go. I hope Blades and Leeds go up stuff. But yeah, definitely Pixie. I mean, he didn't have a bad game at all.
No, he didn't.
He had a really decent game. Look, Bogle has been Pixie. As much as you want to say that he's a crap defender, he's this, that, and the other. I was getting told that Alfie Gilchrist's a better player. There's nowhere in a month of Sundays that Jayden Bogle is below Alfie Gilchrist. I think Joey has been a breath of fresh air. There's literally an argument he's been our best signing. There's an argument there, isn't there? He's been excellent for Leeds United.
Yeah, I don't think he's been poor. I was really shocked a few weeks back when people said he was poor. I didn't get it. And I think, we saw against Stoke how good he was. He gets a goal and then it was just more of the same. And he's really good down that right-hand side, whoever he plays with, really. If he's inverting or if he's going on the outside, I think he's quality. And maybe Sheffield United fans are a little bit butthurt by it, if we're being totally honest. But I'll tell you, it's a conversation because everyone keeps telling me that he would need replacing if we got promoted, which I don't agree with, Connor. I just wondered what your thoughts were, because I think, he's not amazing, but it was one of Sheffield United's better performance when in the Premier League. I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, he was one of their better players. And and I think a lot of them base that him being poor defensively on the Premier League. And and that's a conversation to be had, of course. I mean, the thing is, Joe, as a newly promoted team, who are we going to go out and get who's very decent going forward, especially if we stick with Daniel Farke, where he really relies on the fullbacks? This is if we get to Premier League as well, but who are we going to get that's an upgrade from Bogle? I think it's a very, very narrow sort of window. Look, you're going to get defensively tested in the Premier League. We know that, especially out wide, because I think out wide, they're the best players in the world, the wingers that we have at Premier League level. I just think they're so good. You look at even the mid-range players and they're just ridiculous, aren't they, Joe? The 10th, 11th, 12th sides in this division, they're just so good out wide. So Bogle will struggle. I think every fullback struggles. I think, every single one that's got, I mean, who's at right back for Southampton? Is it James Bree? And then you've got Clark at Ipswich, and then you've got Leicester with James Justin. I mean, I have to be honest, Joe, I'd rather have Bogle than all three of those, to be honest.
I rate Bogle. I think he'd do a job, mate, for sure. We do need an overhaul, but you can't replace it all. You need to have some continuity, I think. Otherwise, if you try and replace it all, it goes to shit anyway. So it's about finding that happy medium. And promotion is ours. And we'll cross the transfer bridge when we come to it. But it's exciting for us as content creators, Connor, as you know. Times have been hard for us. This Championship football, we need that Premier League back, and I cannot wait. And look, do you know what? It's going to be. I know I'm sort of already preempting it, but I've just been confident about. I've been so confident though. I've been so confident about Leeds this season, to be honest. So I'm not. I won't come away for that. But it's going to be so hard because the gap now in staying in the Premier League's insane. Like I always felt under Bielsa. I don't know about you, but I was always like, we're going to stay up. But when I'm already prepared for being in a relegation dogfight right to the end next season,
And you should be, mate. And we all should be. If we it's going to be hard. And do you know what the funny thing is? You go up there, and when you start getting beat, and we'll remember it, when you start getting beat and beat and beat every single week, you think there is an almost. It's not even an option. It's like an obligation for us all to get reactionary because we've worked so hard to get up there. Yeah. We've worked so hard to get up. You see with Ipswich fans now, hold on, Ipswich 2-3 years ago, they're in League One. They've come up, been in the Premier Leagues, they've done well to get there, but coming down, but you see the whole mentality changing, don't you? You think it gets desperate and you want to stay in the Premier Leagues. It's the best league in the world. But What I will say, Joe, is I've seen a lot going round on that, but there is examples, mate. I mean, look who's in the top 2 at the minute. You know, you've got an example there in Forest. You've got Villa, who didn't go up long ago. You have got Brentford. You know, obviously, Brighton have been there for a period of time now, haven't they? But what about Fulham as well, or another one? I think top quality recruitment, Joe, and not getting a lot wrong. I have to say that, not getting a lot wrong. Even with managerial wise, having 1 or 2, like Brighton do, 1 or 2 almost set up for potentially losing your manager is the way to go. I think you've got to have an absolute pinpoint recruitment team, to be honest, in the Premier League. I don't think you can get much wrong. I mean, Ipswich just spent 100 million, haven't they? Spent 100 million quid. I think, I'll be honest, Joe, I think Leeds would have to do that and potentially more.
But I think they've recruited well for the Championship, Ipswich.
Ipswich, yeah, they have. They definitely have, yeah. And that's the conversation, isn't it, mate? And yeah, it's a big leap. It's a huge leap right now. But I think if we go up there, like I said, pinpoint recruitment, we'll give ourselves a chance. But it's all about 17th. All about 17th for me next season.
100% 17th, mate. Yeah.
If we go up, Joe says. The Joe Donahue, maybe. Love both your shows, but together you are the yin and yang of talk shows. Cheers, Joe. Appreciate that. I think that's a compliment. Joe Madigan says, what's happened to Chris Wood, mate? I mean, the thing is, you know what my dad said last night? My dad turned around to me and he went, he was an absolute donkey. And I went, well, he wasn't. I mean, when Gary Monk, he was, I don't think we had a striker since Chris Wood, good as that, So
I always remember that Brighton goal, man. Like, floating over. Yeah, man. He was quality, Chris Wood. Your dad's wrong there.
He is. Yeah, no, he is. I was saying it to him. Just, he's a donkey. I kind of get what people mean, but it's just because he's not a fluid mover, innit? He's not rapid, but he's an old school striker, innit? Yeah. Mucker says, would you personally be trying to sign Solomon if we went up? Joe?
I think
a lot of money, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah, and we do this as Leeds fans that, like people say, sign Rothwell, sign this person. Everyone wanted Connor Roberts because he gets the club. And I'm like, no, like if a player spends a period of time, we're just like, we don't need to worry about that now. Because Solomon's been great and I'm a big fan of him and he's a level above, etc. But then you might get presented with an opportunity to go get someone who's levels. So you don't want to, and as good as Rothwell's been, there's a reason why he hasn't got in at Bournemouth, folks. So we have to be, Premier League's a totally different kettle of fish. The amount of players now that, if you're, like you said, mate, if your recruitment's bob on, you can pick up a Matoma, you can pick up a Caicedo, you can pick up, a Semenyo, all these players that we see in the Premier League. So I'd just say give it time. Let's see what the recruitment team come up with.
And it's not been offensive as well if we were to get up, but it's not been offensive saying that, like, you wouldn't keep hold of a Rothwell if that is your preface, if that is how you think. I mean, I guess the only thing with some of these players is they've been signed to play in the Premier League, haven't they?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess that's something. But you look at Rothwell, Joe. I know he's 29, but they probably want maybe upper echelon of Premier League money. It's nothing nowadays, but they probably want 10 million maybe for him. Solomon, you might be looking at 15. I don't know. Spurs, as Chris Hess said, will try pull your pants down for him. So you are right. Like you've got to go in and you've got to be. There's no freebies. No freebies. They can get us out the Championship, which is great, and that's what they've been brought in for. But there's no guarantees. No guarantees. Let's go back to it. Joe Rodon cost us 10 million quid, didn't he? So it's you're not playing around with money at that era.
I mean, look at Oliver Skipp, cost Leicester 25 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and they kind of know you're desperate as well, don't they? They know you're desperate. They know you're coming up straight away and you're trying to invest. And it's like, getting certain personnel on pretty quickly. Yeah. Lee says, does Joseph get dropped next game? I'd keep him in just because of the team who were coming up against. I think Blackburn. I think Peru got absolutely swallowed at Ewood Park, and he got hooked, didn't he? But I think Bamford came on, didn't he? He was at 63rd minute, or was that Preston? I can't quite remember. But I know he got brought off, and I know he didn't have a good game at Ewood Park. Look, it's going to be, isn't it, Joe? This is one of the toughest games of the season. I think we are now very, very well aware of how they're almost a little bit like our kryptonite. John Eustace, anyway, in particular, we've not scored a goal against this side in 3. Is that almost credence for starting Peru? Potentially. I just think he really, really struggled against a notorious back five, of which they're going to put in with Travis just on their toes. How do you see it, mate? Or do you think
Holmes? I have to agree with what Jamie said. I think we're just totally different at home. I mean, a loss will come eventually, but I think we're a totally different animal at home. So I expect us to win the game. And I would go back to what we saw against Stoke. I would change it back. Apart from, Rothwell and Ampadu in midfield. That would be my pick. Everyone else is the same. Yeah.
Fair enough. Alex says, if we sign Solomon and Buendia, we have a better squad than most bottom table teams in the Prem. Got to invest to stay up. Look at Forest and Villa now. Yeah. I guess we've got to just wait and see, mate, and we've got to wait and see. Maury the Cop Blade says, I personally don't want us Sheffield United in the Premier League next season. We need to, I think, Maury, I'll be honest, mate. If you're looking at 5 players now that you need to probably invest in, I think, it's going to be a tall order in the Premier League. I think it'd just be getting up with Sheffield United to maybe come down and invest again. But I think you're right. I think right now in particular anyway with Sheffield United, they had about 20 players going, didn't they, Joe? We're probably in a little bit of a better position than they are right now because we've had the chance to rebuild. They'll probably be looking at us and thinking that's your hallmark really when it comes to how we can maybe replicate it.
I know it's crazy, Connor, but you could argue going up the second season's been better for Leeds. And I know it's easier, but in the long run, it might be because we're we have a better.
Do you know what the problem is, Joe, with them? Do you know what the problem is with them? If it stays like it is now, Maury, and Sheffield United fans in now, and look, by the way, we're 2 points ahead of you, but we're just talking about squads, and this doesn't mean we're going up either. But we have a bit of confidence in it, obviously, especially with these last 2 away wins. But I think the problem with what you've got next season is you've got potentially 3 demons coming down. And we've experienced that with those 3 in the league. Bearing in mind, at this point, last season, Leicester won 59 points, Joe. And Ipswich won 54 points. That's how nuts it was last season. I think Southampton were in 3rd on 49. So obviously there'll be churn there. Leicester may lose more players, but they just seem a little bit set up, and they're able to do it last time anyway. Ipswich will come down and they'll be very, very strong. So I wouldn't want to be in the Championship. We can't be in the Championship really next year when it comes to us. We'll be year 3 parachute payments. We'll be a lot weaker. But Sheffield United, it's the one that misses out, Joe. They're in a bit of problems next season, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, but I still stand by my prediction of Leeds for Sheffield United second and Burnley playoffs. I think that's the way it'll go. Yeah. I just think Burnley shithouse the way through. That's what Scotty Parker does. They don't score enough. I don't think they'll get top 2. I think it'll be us and Sheffield United. But Sheffield United have to do business big time. But I think that'll be your 3. Luton have had a stinker, aren't they? Middlesbrough too inconsistent. Blackburn too inconsistent. Sunderland will be in between, 5th and 6th. They'll be 4th. That's their spot. And then I think the other 2 will be up for contention. West Brom, I'd have said, but obviously Carlos is now at Valencia, so you don't know. But and I think we're better placed going up with Burnley and Sheffield United. Sorry, mate?
Those playoffs will be minging.
Oh, we can't do that, man.
They'll be minging, won't they?
Yeah.
No. It feels like there's a lot more balance. There's no way Leeds could rotate like we did the other day. I mean, it showed, didn't it, yesterday? And you've still got Gilavogi on the bench. You've still got, who was left on the bench yesterday who didn't come on? I'm trying to think.
Rothwell didn't come on.
Rothwell didn't come on, yeah. So, it's all about us extending now. Joe, I've not got your thoughts ahead of Blackburn. Go on then, mate. What are you thinking going into it? Probably one of the toughest games of the season, would you say that?
Potentially at Ellen Road, yeah, but I do think we'll have luck as well. Cantwell doesn't get nowhere near as much joy with Ethan Ampadu in midfield. Facts. Same with Czech Vertadze for Watford. We do miss him, that physicality, his anticipation, the reading of the game, as good as Tanaka's been there. I think Ampadu's a level above in the 6, not as a midfielder or a complete, but in the 6. So I think, I think we win the game. I think they might score though, 2-1 Leeds.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I think that's the point I was going to make about Ampadu. I think, Campbell was running the show, wasn't he, at points against Blackburn. I thought he was getting between our defensive and midfield line way too easily. But yeah, mate, we'll leave it there. We've had 1,300 of you in the building. I think that's record numbers, well, on this channel anyway, for the Counterpoint. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I know Joe's hands-on there and busy. He's done all this by just powering his kid off as well, so shout out.
Hand off!
But yeah, give us a like, everybody. As I say, I'm sure you're over at Joe's channel anyway. I'm sure a lot of you are. There he is, the little man. Another Leeds fan there. But guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Joe, thanks for joining again, mate. And Leeds are top of the league. Enjoy it, guys. Cheers.
Legends, man.